lot of people are interested, obviously, in the nostalgia that goes along with the park. And we have quite a bit in our collection, artifacts and photos and documents that go back. And I like to speak in terms of the earliest aspects of the park. When I do my presentations, I always start off by asking people, what's your fondest memory of Geauga Lake? And they sit there and they give me all kinds of answers. I used to work at Geauga Lake. I think everybody that lived in Aurora that was old enough to remember the park lived in there or worked at SeaWorld or Geauga Lake. My earliest recollection is 1967, sophomore in college. Having lived in Orange, was excited because we and my friends had gotten some tickets to Wixie's 1260s radio station in Cleveland's First Appreciation Day being held out at Geauga Lake Park. So we piled into my, I think it was 1959 Buick convertible and started off on our trek to Aurora. And it seemed like it took us forever to get here, maybe like the early settlers going through the wilderness. Saw Paul Revere and the Raiders down by the beach house where they had the first concert, and Shauna and I was there. Had a great time, and I probably was thinking, who in the heck would ever want to live out here in Aurora, way out here in the wilderness, but here we are, some years later. But so that's my fondest recollection of the park. But Geauga Lake was first settled around 1806 by a gentleman, Samuel McConaughey, who had come from Massachusetts, and he was the first settler around that area of Geauga Lake. But it was just a lake, and later becomes known as Giles Lake when Giles Sullivan buys a lot of the property and begins to kind of turn it into a little picnic park, just a place where families in the surrounding area could gather on a Sunday evening, weekend evening, and enjoy the lake and have a picnic. It's not until the 1850s, 1856, when the railroad starts coming through the area. A lot of the important people in Aurora had actually petitioned the Erie Railroad to make sure that Aurora was going to be on the train site. So when they brought the railroad through, two stations were built in Aurora. One was the Pond Station, the Geauga Lake Station on the north side of Geauga Lake, and the other one, the Aurora train station down on Route 82 in the central part of the community. And it was at that time then that the park really began to turn from a little picnic park into kind of more of a, not an amusement park yet, but more attracting more people. Alexander Kent in the 1870s bought some of the property, built a hotel, which attracted a lot of people who would be coming out on the railroad and spending a weekend. Eventually a dance hall was built. There was a campground and a baseball diamond, but no amusement rides except for a steam-powered carousel, which was located down near the lake. It wasn't really until the 1920s that the park began to develop into a full-fledged amusement park that everybody would become familiar with. The people that owned the property at that time was a gentleman by the name of William Coleman, who began the amusement park and was beginning to put in different rides. But it really began to take impact around 1924-25 when another gentleman by the name of Harry Hammond, who was a Cleveland attorney, and apparently had not only the money but the connections and the know-how to really make the park into what a lot of people remember it to be beginning in 1925. We know that because we have his diaries that were lent to us and now in possession of the Historical Society, which give a day-by-day account of basically his diaries go from 1918 through 1935. But the ones in the 20s, the 1924, 25, in that area, when the park was being developed, gives us a day-by-day accounting of what was going on. He lived in Cleveland Heights, and he would come out almost daily to the park, drive out, spend the weekends with the Colemans at the park, and as they planned the development of it. The diary speaks about him purchasing the lumber from the Cleveland Lumber Company for construction of the Skyrocket, better known as the Big Dipper. He goes to different places to examine different types of arcade games and so forth. He participates in a convention in Chicago of amusement park enthusiasts and owners to get the latest and greatest things that are going on. They purchased the Whirlybird, which was the early plane ride that spun around. Purchased the Dodgem. In 1925, they begin construction of the Olympic-sized swimming pool that was going to be a highlight of the park. Early construction of that was kind of, well, not the construction, but the opening of the pool was delayed until 1926 because Coleman and Hammond were unhappy with the quality of the water that was in the pool. They actually pumped lake water into the pool. It wasn't chlorinated, so it would be in there for a week or so, and then the pool would be drained and new water would be pumped in. And they were concerned that the pumps were pumping too much muddy water into it until they came up with a better way to do that. So while the pool had been completed, it wasn't really opened until the following summer in 1926. The park opened in July weekend of the July 4th weekend of 1925. Saturday was a rainy day and they were disappointed by the turnout. Not a lot of people had showed up, but then Sunday was the 4th of July, was a fabulous day, and they had over, I think, 15,000 people come through the park. And they were pleased because they were now finally going to be making money. One of the big discussions they had prior to opening the park is how are we going to charge people for the park admission? They did not charge an admission just to get in the gates. That didn't exist. You paid by the ride, and their big discussion was, should we charge people as they get on the ride, or do we charge people after they get off? The decision was made to charge people prior to getting on the rides instead of afterwards because they felt people would scatter too much, so that was a major concern. Hammond was very explicit about advertising the park. He wanted to make sure that it became an attraction in Northeast Ohio, so they did a lot of things to attract crowds. He had actually hired one individual to attract different companies. They have company picnics out on the park, and they would come out by train from Cleveland, spend a day, and then take a train back. And we have a lot of photos that show these large groups standing in front of the trains and the amusement rides and stuff. He staged a couple of events. One of them was in 1926, just after the pool opened. Johnny Weissmuller, an Olympic swimmer and later Tarzan, came out to the park, and he set an Olympic record for the 200-yard stroke freestyle in the pool. So that was an attraction that had brought a lot of people out to the park on that day. In 1931, a young boxer by the name of William Stribling opened a camp in Geauga Lake. He was paid to come out and have his training camp out there, and he had sparring fights with different boxers that he had to pay admission to come and see. But he was in training for his July 4th, 1931 fight with world champion, heavyweight champion Max Schmeling. William did a good job in the bout. He lasted 10 rounds until the last 15 seconds when he was knocked out by Max Schmeling. He continued to fight after that, and then tragically a couple of years later was killed in an automobile accident. But so there were those kinds of events that were staged to bring people to the park, but it was quite successful in its early years. The diaries kind of pinpoint that. Hammond, who lived in Cleveland Heights, would come out on the weekends as well as during the week, but on weekends he would spend the weekend with the Colemans, and then on Sunday evening when the park closed, he always took the weekend receipts back with him to Cleveland Heights and then deposited them in the Cleveland Trust Bank on Sunday or Monday morning. He, early on in the diaries, actually gave the amounts of, made $7,000 this weekend, $8,000, whatever the case might be, and later on those numbers became kind of coded so you didn't really know exactly how much money the park was bringing in. Reason behind that, I'm not sure whether he was, keeping a little money for himself, but I don't think he was in a position where he really needed to have to do that. But it's interesting. The diaries not only paint a picture of what was happening with the park's development, but also what was happening in the country and in Cleveland. He was a member of the Cleveland Athletic Club, and he talks about going up on top of the roof of the Cleveland Athletic Club one evening and watching the German Graf Zeppelin fly around Terminal Tower and back out to the Cleveland Airport during the Cleveland Air Races. He talks about going to the Palace Theater and seeing Buster Keaton and all these kind of silent film stars and everything. So it's absolutely fascinating to sit down and go through these diaries, because you get a real good sense of what was happening at that period of time in the 20s. He was good friends with the owners of Geauga Beach Park. Geauga Beach had already been open and running, and I think he depended on them a lot for a lot of the direction he got in being able to improve Geauga Lake. Opening day, even on opening day, he was running short of startup cash, for everything, and he went and borrowed $1,000 from the couple up there, so that he would have enough money for the next day.